Hello and welcome to the StartupBREW Fargo podcast. StartupBREW is a weekly event hosted by Emerging Prairie in downtown Fargo, where we believe that entrepreneurship is energized over brews. Each week, we bring entrepreneurs, founders, and innovators together because we believe they succeed when they have access to each other and the community that supports them. This week, we welcome Jake Sells with Pops Bejou Games. Jake is their chief marketing officer, and he started the business with his friends and co-founders over their shared love of board games. They believe that board games bring people closer together, so they hope to do that with their newest game, Cultivate. Let's listen in.
All right, hello everyone. As Emma said, I'm Jake Sells with Pops Bejou Games. I am the chief marketing officer as well as one of the founders and co-owners with these other three lovely individuals up here in the bright blue shirts. So each of us come from kind of a different background. Austin, he comes from an architecture background. Jenna comes from a higher education background. Danny comes from a graphic design background, and I have my background within political science. So through our education and our different experiences, we all kind of bring something different to the table. We all have different skills, as well as different personality types with different strengths and weaknesses, and we, I think, really balance each other out as a team. And so we got together and decided to follow our dream of making a board game. So here it is, Cultivate. When deciding to make a game, there are some things we were keeping in mind. We wanted to, oh no. Less tippy that way. We wanted to do something different. We wanted to make a game that was themed in a way we haven't seen, a game that featured bright colors, lots of characters, and we wanted to really make sure that we kind of did something that we don't see a lot of within games, which is make sure that our game had inclusion and representation and just allowed other people to see themselves within our game. And we also wanted our game to be accessible to everyone, all types of gamers. So Jenna here has coined the phrase gateway games, meaning it's a good game to start out at if you're not an avid board gamer. It has a little bit more strategy than those party games that you play, but not as intense as some of those big scary games you'll see in the stores. So it's a perfect game for people who really love to game and people who don't board game much, and it's kind of like that perfect bridge between those two to bring them together. So Cultivate, it's a pattern building game with take that elements, which is you're playing as a satirical cult leader trying to recruit followers to fulfill your agenda. So we wanted to tackle kind of a taboo topic without glamorizing it. So it's silly, it's ridiculous, but it's a lot of fun. So our process was we launched our game on Kickstarter at the end of February. Kickstarter, for those of you who do not know, is a crowdfunding platform. And crowdfunding, basically, to put it kind of plainly, is just you put it on there, people can see if they like it or not, and if they do, they'll pledge money to get your game. So they kind of basically buy the game early so that you can use those funds to actually make the game. So our goal for Cultivate was $15,000, and we reached that on our fourth day of our campaign. And then by the end of our campaign, we made about $52,500 with about over 1,300 backers. So that was very exciting. So since then, we have been now working on logistics and things, so getting shipping all figured out, working with our manufacturer, Panda Game Manufacturing, dealing with customs and fulfillment centers and taxes and all of that fun stuff. So we have some copies of our game now. We got 5 of them kind of airmailed over quickly just so that we have some to show people and to demo and all of that. But we're hoping to get our games by this fall, the early fall. Things in the world are crazy, so things are all kind of slowed down right now. Hello. Hi, I'm back. So moving forward as a company, we can have plans to make more games. There might be another one that we're working on right now, but I'm not going to tell you anything about it. It's hush hush. And we also just really hope to kind of get more involved in the community here in Fargo, as well as the board gaming community as a whole. So we are registered for a lot of board game conventions coming up this fall, now that those are restarting again. We have one in Minneapolis we're going to in September, and we were accepted into this it's a competition at this convention for indie developers and board games. So we're really excited to be involved in that little contest, see if we can take home the prize for best new independent game. And we plan to kind of travel all around the country and attend different conventions and meet new people and continue to make games and just keep getting involved. So yeah, I think that's kind of all I have about us and who we are and what we're doing. Yeah.
After the presentation, we opened up to a live Q&A session where Jake was joined by the rest of his co-founders, along with Emma McIntyre, who is also the lead coordinator of StartupBREW Fargo. Let's listen in.
So my first question, actually, we'll have you guys introduce yourselves, and then that'll give context to the question. That's probably a much better idea. Jenna.
Hi, I'm Jenna Radke. I'm originally from Bejou, Minnesota, but reside in Moorhead now, and I am the Chief Operating Officer for Pops Bejou.
Jake.
From State Farm. I like the khakis.
Every time. Every time.
Hi, I'm Danny Cavalli. I'm homegrown Fargo Moorhead local native, and I do graphic design and illustration for Pops and Bejou.
You're the art director. Yeah, there you go. My name is Austin Foss. I'm the Pops of Pops and Bejou. If you didn't catch that, Jenna at the end is the Bejou. I'm the CEO of Pops and Bejou Games.
Fantastic. So I'm curious, and these individuals don't know your guys' backgrounds. I guess you did give a little bit of an overview. Can you share with us what has been maybe the most surprisingly difficult but also rewarding experience of creating a board game? Because you've all never made board games before.
Yeah, so some of the difficult things definitely were just trying to navigate this whole thing through a pandemic. Obviously, with a board game, you need people to get together to play it, especially for playtesting, which is a big part of the game development process. But we managed to get by with what we had, and also, of course, other resources besides people. But like financial resources were a struggle, but that's what we had Kickstarter for, as well as just resources of being able to start out and navigate growing a new business in the middle of a pandemic. But we managed to overcome some of those obstacles, and here we are. So, yeah. You also asked about rewarding things?
Yes.
Yeah, do you want? Go ahead.
I'll do the rewarding thing. All of us are pretty avid board gamers, and so, we went into this process, knowing a few things about board games and, what we like about them and what we don't like. And so the really rewarding, I think, experience was to make something our own. And plus, we're all friends, and we have still remained friends, so that's good. And that's been really rewarding too. It just, as a group, just getting to, come together and make something all of our own and bring, like you said, all of our own perspectives in it has been a really cool experience.
So, this is a little off script. Would you mind if we pass that around so everybody can see it? That might feel a little elementary, but I just want everybody to see how well it's designed and kind of like what it looks like. I feel like it's a lot cooler to like physically see it. So, pass it around, do the zigzag thing like you did in elementary school. You guys know, I believe in you, you're adults. Now we're going to turn it over to our audience for Q&A. We'll start right up here. Leslie. When the four of you play, who wins? Danny. Do you have like a streak going on?
Yeah, I won the very first game that when we got our prototype in. I won that first game, and I've got a winning record. We typically, whenever we play board games, we have a little piece of paper in the box, and we write down who won that game. And my name's pretty frequent, I'll say.
Okay, truth comes out. Fantastic. We've got a question over here.
Yeah, so we all, Pops Bejou and I went to NDSU together, so we met in college. Pops and I met through a mutual friend who I was going to live with, and then Pops was there too, so we all lived together, and then Bejou and I worked together on campus and became really good friends, and we just introduced one another, and we met Danny through another mutual friend as well. So we just had a lot in common and got together and became friends, and yeah.
They were clients first, and then they
This
became
is true.
friends.
Well, friends, clients, work partners.
The clients, friends, coworker, partner, co-owners. It's been a whole thing.
Insulted.
Yeah.
Keep going. Are you sure you want to stop?
We're
there?
done. This
Okay,
is
nice.
that's tame.
Yes,
That's
okay,
tame for
perfect.
us.
That's a little insight to what every single one of our meetings looks like all
Oh,
the time.
lovely.
And I have to wrangle them up all the time.
Reality TV Entrepreneur Edition, is that?
We
I would like
emailed
that.
MTV about a possible TV show. They haven't gotten back to us, but you know.
Oh, dang. Well, if you need us to endorse, we have 68 friendly faces here that I'm sure would love to help. John.
Can you talk a little bit about the process of choosing someone to manufacture it and the costs and those sorts of things?
Right. So right away when we were looking at manufacturers, we were like, we want to do domestic, or we wanted to, and unfortunately there's nothing there, right? And I mean, we looked everywhere, and it wasn't necessarily a cost decision. It was just there was nobody here. And so, yeah, unfortunately and fortunately, I mean, they're a really good manufacturer that manufactures some of our favorite games, Panda Games Manufacturing, but yeah, they are in China. And so with that, it right now has been a major headache just because shipping is insane right now. That's, I guess, kind of what you get from starting a company during COVID. But we're hoping that will get back to normal by next year. Or, maybe a games manufacturer will pop up in the U.S. sometime soon. Minimum order was 2,000, but since we did so well on our Kickstarter, we did 3,000 games this first time. Yeah.
Big things to celebrate. Speaking of your Kickstarter campaign, Eric asks on not LinkedIn, Emma McIntyre, on Twitter, your crowdfunding efforts were amazing, which they totally were. Do you have any tips for entrepreneurs looking to successfully crowdfund their project?
Sure. So one of the things, like the number one thing that we did was build our own base. We talked to our friends and our family, and they really helped kind of get the ball rolling. So we let everybody know what time we were launching, what day we were launching, and just asked our friends and family who were deciding to back the game if they'd be willing to do it early. Because kind of when you launch a Kickstarter campaign, you're higher up on the list, on the just recently released list. And if you're gaining traction and you're getting more pledges, you'll stay up higher on that list. So we talked to our friends and family, relied on them, and they backed right away, and that's what kind of really got the ball rolling. After that, we worked. We had different ads out there. We did Google ads and Instagram ads and Facebook ads, and then our ads that we did that were the most successful were through BackerKit, which is a pledge manager that will kind of work closely with Kickstarter, and those ads really did have the most success. And then also from a local standpoint, we did go out into the community, and we hung up posters, and we had some stickers made, and we put those around in businesses, and we had coasters made, and we brought those to some local bars and restaurants for them to use, just to get our name out there within the community, because we it's important to us to have the support everywhere, but also we just really care about having the support here locally. And Fargo is such a supportive community that loves to build one another up. So we really tapped into that. I think that's.
It's always my favorite when I go up to somebody that I haven't met before and I talk about Cultivate, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I saw that poster or that coaster or whatever," and like that's the best.
Yes. Any in-person questions? I know we got another one in. Oh, Darby Ness.
How did you narrow down the concept for the board game? Like, how did you end up on the cult satiric like thing?
we play a lot of board games, obviously, and we just saw a lot of themes. Like there's always like city building or buying and selling things or trading things, and we were just looking for something different and something unique that isn't overdone already. So we had a couple of different ideas we tossed around, but I think at one point we were just like so excited in developing these different ideas, and Pops was like, we really need to just focus on one and narrow it down. And this was the one that we had the most developed at the time. And I'm really glad that we went with it because it's really awesome and we're really excited about it. But yeah, we have lots of different ideas that are on our do not do list because they're overdone. And then a lot on our like, these are creative and new, we can try that list. And like Jake mentioned, we might have a top secret new game in the works, but hush hush for now. So yeah, you'll see more to come, and we're hoping to create an entire like expanded universe of games. We deem it the Pops and Bejou universe. So we're really like hoping to have connected characters and a thing like that going on with our games. So yeah.
Fantastic. I did see a hand down here, Nick.
You guys talked about gaming in the community. How do you plan on engaging individuals with your game? Where do you play? You know, where do you meet people who play games?
Yeah, so now that the world is kind of getting more back to normal, we're going to be able to hold events, and so we're hoping to hold gaming events, and we hope to we plan on having a launch party once all of the games are here and we get going, and we will invite all the members of the community, and we'll do the same stickers, flyers everywhere to get people more engaged. But as for kind of specifically meeting people in person and building those relationships, attending events like this and things like that, but then specifically meeting board gamers, there's the Fargo Moorhead Board Game Club. Is that what it's called? The club? Society? Group? And they they play games together all the time, and so we hope to get engaged with them, as well as the game stores in town here. A lot of them will have different gaming leagues and game nights and demo nights, and so we hope to work with them to demo our game and meet those members of the gaming community individually in person. And I've heard whispers of a board game cafe opening up somewhere in town, and so working with them to just meet people. And we also think that would be a really great opportunity to test our future products and our future games with those people who play a lot of games. So.
Yes, sir. For the rest of the group, he asked, who came up with the sabotage element of the game?
We're all very competitive, so when we play board games together, it's always like, I don't care if I win as long as I beat such and such. So we just had to have a sabotage element to our game. Actually, during one of our very, very early play tests with some friends, they were giving us feedback, and we had a couple of like, you can play an investigator on that cult leader and stop them types of elements. And one of our friends was just like, there's just not enough sabotage in this game. So we had to like really amp it up to make sure it was extra competitive, just to so that we could have that camaraderie within the game. And, having like a limited number of follower pieces for our cult leaders to collect was also like a big thing we had to do, both for cutting back costs, but also to make it even more competitive for our gameplay.
Hannah.
So this process took about a year, a little less than a year, 9 or 10 months. And that's honestly pretty quick as far as board game development goes, because we've looked at other people that have made board games, and it takes multiple years. I think I can chalk that up to probably because we want simpler games, not simple games, but simpler games that we can make sure that process is moving quickly. Our goal is to do a game and a half. So the half would be an expansion or like a smaller game. And so our goal is to do a game and a half a year is right now.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a site where we can go and pre-buy?
Yes.
And what is that? What's your target price?
Oh, you go for it. Okay. We do have a site. It is popsbejou.com. If you come to us, we'll have business cards to give you too. That will have our website on it, and it'll have a link to our. It's actually our Indiegogo store. So Indiegogo has like a pre-order store now. So we've used both the big crowdfunding softwares of Kickstarter and Indiegogo. But yes, it runs for $39 right now.
I do have a question for Danny, which is, to my understanding, you've never designed a board game before this moment, or before Cultivate. Can you explain maybe the process of designing a board game and how it was different in most of your design projects in your career till this point?
Yeah. So they came to me, like I said, they were clients first, and they said, "Hey, we're looking to make a." We were acquaintances first, and they said, "We're making a board game, and we need art." And I said, "Okay, well, what's the theme of the game, and what are you hoping to do with it?" And kind of like any other branding project, you set up a mood board and you figure out what they like, what they're going for, and what they don't want is equally as important. And so one of the things that Pops said was we want it, because it's a satirical thing, we want to take a lighthearted approach at a taboo topic like cults. We want it to feel almost childlike. And so I always do a lot of illustration in my graphic design, and so I put together some mood boards and kind of found this like mid-mod aesthetic that we all really gravitated towards. And the very first thing I did for them was I made one of the characters, Shirley UL Die, and then I made two other cards. And I said, this is what I'm thinking, and if you guys are vibing with this, we can move forward and see where the rest of the game components, turn out and go from there. So honestly, it's not a whole lot different than any other, packaging project, branding project. Just a lot more illustration.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Danny.
I heard one of your Kickstarter goals involved a tattoo.
Oh.
Talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about the Kickstarter tattoo.
Yeah, so our original goal for getting the game produced was $15,000, and 2 days before we launched the Kickstarter, we were talking about, how much do you think we're actually gonna make? And I thought 30,000 would be cool, but I don't think we're gonna make it. I was wrong. So I said, if we raise $30,001, I'll get a tattoo of one of the cult leaders' logos. And so here 3 months ago, I got a tattoo. It's up on my thigh. You can't really see it.
There's
but
a picture on our
if I was wearing
Instagram.
short. There is a picture on Instagram. Pops Bejou Games on Instagram if you want to see that. But yes, it happened. I now have something permanent to remind me. But yeah, so again, if I even would have said 50,000, I still would have ended up with a tattoo. So, yeah.
Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. That's what it said in my 6th grade history room. So, words to live by. Anybody else? Any other questions from the audience? Yes, sir.
So I also develop board games, and I'm kind of curious, as you guys did mechanics and then art, or were you kind of doing them side and side, or did you kind of do, the graphics look great, but now we're seeing some problems with gameplay. Now we have actual pieces that look like it's supposed to. So how did that process work?
A lot of it was the game mechanics first. So when we started, we literally handmade sets of this game to play test. And I am probably the least artistic of this group, and I made little game boards on Microsoft Word using tables and things. So Danny was very disappointed to see that art, but we made it work. And you just really have to test out those elements. But we had some troubles, when I made a little rule book for our playtesters, and we mailed out sets to at least 60 different sets to different friends and family to play during the pandemic. And a lot of them were like, well, I don't really understand what you're talking about, move this follower here and this and that. So it was really that, hey, Danny, we need you to stop working on card art, and we need you to get on this rule book. We need diagrams and things, and I can't make those without your artistic skills. So we did really need to bring that element in to help our playtesters understand what we were talking about, because if we're going to test the rule book to see if it works, we needed to have it what it's going to be. So definitely some of both, but a lot of the game mechanics did come first.
I will say a large part of our process too was theme. I think we probably picked a theme first before we even went into game mechanics. I think we did theme and then game mechanics, and then the art and game mechanics kind of simultaneously were happening after that.
So I would love to end in gratitude. I want you guys to share what you are most grateful for with each other. You have the very unique perspective of having co-founders. A lot of the founders we have on the stage don't always, and you guys have a lot of co-founders. So we'll just go down the line. If you can share maybe the thing that you're most grateful for in your team of co-founders. Like, why are you grateful you have multiple people to help problem solve at Pops Bejou?
I think I'm just really grateful that, like Jake said earlier, we all have different unique talents and skills we bring. Like I said, I don't know anything about art, and we've got some great art perspectives and art creators on our team that really kind of balance that out. Whereas others, like, I have a lot of insight on game mechanics, things like that, and others have, those people skills of, being good at connecting in the community and marketing, things like that. So it's just really helpful that we can really balance each other out in that sense.
Yeah, I agree. Also, though, for me, I think the thing that I'm most grateful for is just the environment that as a team we have. Just it's a very, even though we like to give each other a hard time, it's a very loving, open, accepting group, and each of us are able to just be ourselves. We're able to show when we're happy, excited, but also when we're upset or frustrated or sad, and we are all willing to listen and help each other out and just let everyone be themselves. And I think that allowance to be authentically you is really important, and especially in this environment, because I think when you are able to authentically be yourself, you are more likely to put your heart into something, and that's what all of us are doing, and it's paying off so far. So,
Heck yeah.
Jake nailed it. We're all unapologetically ourselves, for better or for worse. And I will say that when I first came onto the team, before I was even part of the team, and I was just their freelance designer, they were the best client I've ever had. They gave me a lot of creative freedom. They weren't, micromanaging me or art directing me, say, oh, move that a little. They're like, we trust you, and we know that you're gonna, hit your deadlines and make good work. And so trust is a big part of this team, and things just work really, really well amongst the four of us.
It's hard. I enjoy that we can all help each other, and that we're all there for each other, and that when anybody is getting stressed, the other three can take on some of their responsibilities, and it's just really nice to have four people, because it's easy to do that, and it's just fun. We've been having fun. Like I know you. I mean, you see us because we're in the den all the time, and it's been a fun experience.
Unofficial cheerleader of the team, so I don't have a cool t-shirt yet, but it's fine. So they've been attending. Oh, you're working on it?
We're working on it.
Cool, nice, thank you, I appreciate it. I'll wear it on stage if you want. It's some free brand promotion. If anybody wants to give me a t-shirt with your logo on it, I'll wear it on stage. Free advertising.
Wow, I feel the betrayal. You just said you.
I have a lot of pom-poms, okay? I'll be everybody's cheerleader. Spread the love. So they've been attending for weeks in preparation of this day. So I'm sure you know the final question I'm going to ask, which is, what is one thing each of us can do to help accelerate the work that you guys are doing?
I just think spreading the word is going to be really helpful. Like we've said, we're pretty new. We've been in this for about a year. So getting our name out there, both as a company, but also like the game. So like we mentioned, it's in manufacturing right now. It just wrapped mass production. They're doing final assembly right now, and our games will hopefully be shipped over soon. So if you know anyone who loves board games, or if you love board games yourself, letting people know about those games, the games that we're making, and if you want one, you can order one as well. That would be awesome on our pre-order store.
Heck yes. Let's give these fantastic people a warm round of applause.
That's all we have for this week's StartupBREW Fargo. Thanks for listening in. StartupBREW Fargo is energized by Emerging Prairie, an organization dedicated to connecting and celebrating the entrepreneurial ecosystem. We'd also like to thank the following sponsors for their support: Pro Resources, Brady Mertz, the FMCVB, Office Sign Company, Fargo Parks, and Midco. See you next time.